Let's wrap up the year 2024 with a bang and look at the best and most hyped spars on Hajime no Ippo. These are the top 5 spars so far, and let me know whether you agree with my ranking. Let's get into it. 5. Itagaki vs Randy Boy Jr. This is the interim OPBF champion we're talking about here, man, and Itagaki is feeling himself. But now he finally locks in. He's focused. This is one of the coldest panels of Itagaki. You can feel the aura and pressure through the panel. Danger is approaching like an electric wave. Itagaki has his hands so low because he's comfortable like this. Because he's so fast and flexible, it doesn't matter where his hands are. There's no faster boxer than him in the whole manga. Since Randy is a switch hitter, Itagaki expects both stances. Let's see which one he'll pull out. Which is it? Boom! The left. It hits Itagaki like a spear. But wait, no, he barely dodged. RBJ is fast, man. His squared stance is crazy efficient to close the distance as fast as possible with both hands. And the right. It's as fast as the left. Just like I said before, it seemingly goes through Itagaki's body as if this is just an afterimage of him. And indeed it is. He's already gone like the Amazon driver who throws a package in front of your door without ringing the bell. He's behind Randy, and Randy goes for another left hand. Boom! Gaki is gone with the wind. Another badass panel of him. He looks so dynamic and athletic, it's crazy. Look at him sliding around the ring on rollerblades. You're too slow, ka. RBJ turns around, but Itagaki is gone again. He teleports behind him at light speed. His sweatshirt is still not fully materialized. Now the other perspective. Gaki is causing a hurricane by drifting around in circles. Bro needs a license for those movements. All of the spectators go crazy at Itagaki's speed and talent. And this guy looks like he's from another manga entirely. Shinoda even confirms that Itagaki is faster than Miyata. Sakaguchi, that rat, wants to take it up a notch. He shows RBJ a thumbs down. Go ham, lil bro. Gotcha, Unk. He's putting on the pressure. Let's see how Itagaki deals with this. He catches Randy's left and throws a super sharp counter in return. And before you can even say Takamura is the GOAT, Itagaki has already left Randy's sight like lightning. Ippo wonders what he sees from his perspective. And this wouldn't be Hajime no Ippo if we didn't see the anatomy view during a fight. Itagaki sees everything. The movement of the muscles, the breathing and the movement of air. He's like an X-ray machine attached to a train. He sees the left traveling in slow motion and moves before it reaches full distance. He absolutely spams on RBJ and drifts around him in circles. Nobody even knows how many punches he threw. But then something lights up in Itagaki's mind. What did he notice? We'll get to that in a second. Randy throws a fast jab, but Itagaki appears to be already in motion. And he moves 180 degrees around Randy within a single panel. Randy can't believe this shit. Itagaki is completely in the zone. Look at him establishing his rhythm. But at the same time, these are feints as well. His stance is one of my favorites in the whole manga. Super aggressive, but still defensive enough to avoid punches. And Randy throws a fast 1-2 combo. Itagaki literally dodges by a fraction of an inch. He moves at the very end of every punch without a margin of error. But this positioning is highly dangerous now. The way his head is swaying opens him up for getting caught with the left. And there it is. And Itagaki twists and turns out of the danger zone without even moving his legs. He's like a professional dancer. No one is this agile. The Ottawa gym coach asks Fuji what training Itagaki goes through to be this crazy in the ring. But Fuji says that this isn't something you can be trained to do. Something literally awakened inside of Itagaki since the fight with Imai. And another left-right combination by RBJ. But again, Itagaki jumps out of there without any issue. He seems to control the pace of this spar now. Everybody in the gym agrees. He's a genius. Itagaki is focusing on his rhythm. He wants to go as far as he can against Randy. And there is that spark again. Did Itagaki knock him out? No. Somehow Itagaki is the one lying on the ground like someone tore out his intestines. He was controlling the whole spar up until now. What happened? Fakaguchi says, very nice. He's a good boxer. He talks like Borat. He's giving compliments, but every word is passive-aggressive and condescending. But Itagaki won't stay on the ground. He says he's good to go. He knows he's faster and he wasn't careless either. But what could have gotten him? The bell hasn't rung yet. Turn around and face me, son. Itagaki charges at RBJ. We don't see Randy's eyes though. This is a sign of questionable darkness. Nobody knows what his intentions words are yet. Itagaki throws a spicy jab, but then he hears something. This is about that spark we saw before. He calls it static. He is hearing something that's interrupting his rhythm. Is RBJ cheating? Did he throw salted peanuts on the canvas to irritate Itagaki? Now pay close attention. Randy circles to the outside of Itagaki's lead leg. Itagaki can only watch what's happening to him. Randy's right hand is already in his face, and it connects. Although Itagaki was able to see every fiber of Randy's body move, he got caught like a fish. This is connected to the static he was hearing before. Itagaki jumps back like a Dragon Ball character and says he needs to move so fast that they're moving on totally different times. This sounds like time travel, bro. But Randy somehow catches up to him and looks like a complete demon with glowing eyes. What are they feeding those boxers in Manila, bro? Itagaki wonders the same thing. He should be faster in theory, but Randy stepped in out of nowhere. This has to be the salted peanut theory. And again, Randy's right hand teleports to Itagaki's face. He appears faster than before now. This is the silent moment before the big explosion. Let's enjoy this piece for 3 seconds. Okay. Ready? And Randy hits Itagaki with the bone-breaking, flesh-eating, brain-freezing right hand that absolutely snaps his neck. His head twists so far that he doesn't only look the other way but also up at the ceiling. He says Miyata is fighting that dude? He can't fight him. He absolutely shouldn't. It's the worst possible matchup. Nah, lil bro got executed in front of his coach and senpai. Time to change gyms. 4. Sendo versus Miyata. He's gonna regret it. They really hurt. These knuckles are mine. And as he says this, his head gets snapped back by a sharp jab. What's the matter, little bro? The bell has already been rung. Sendo goes in to punish Miyata, but no chance. He's being pushed back by a high-speed double jab. I stand corrected. A triple jab. And it causes a lightning storm in the ring. Sendo says they're fast and they hurt. They could literally drop someone. Miyata is more than his dangerous right cross. As Miyata throws another jab, Sendo slips to the side and says it was worth coming to Tokyo. And there it is. He prepares the smash. Miyata's board computer already adjusted accordingly and he raises his guard. But the smash is so powerful that he easily breaks through it. I got one more for you, cuh. You ain't got shit on me, bro. Miyata rocks Sendo with his famous right cross and redesigns his face like a piece of clay. He countered the smash like it's nothing. Miyata looks at his dad because he proved him that he didn't need an uppercut because the counter is good enough. This obsession with counters is wild. He wants to prove his dad's style on the world level. Just like Ippo tried to prove Kamogawa's style and ended up getting absolutely washed. I think eventually Miyata is headed for disaster with this mindset. Sendo wants to know what Miyata is waiting for. This is the chance to land combos and finish him. But Miyata says it's just a spar. No need to get that serious. Obviously he's bluffing. The weight cut is so harsh that he can't use his footwork. But this sets Sendo off, and as we know, rage makes him stronger. Miyata says Sendo came to study jabs, then watch closely. It looks like he's attacking Sendo with an assault rifle. Look at the bullets going through Sendo's shirt. Sendo is exhausted and hasn't landed a single punch yet. It came to the point where the spectators talk like Sendo used to be the Japanese champ and Miyata is whooping his ass. When Itagaki tries to tell him to bob his head or block, Sendo says, "Shut up, I'm trying to stay pissed." He is using that anger. Him and Takamura are the only boxers in the manga that can use anger in a healthy way. Itagaki tells him to bob his head one last time, and then something happens. Sendo takes a stance we rarely see. His guard is practically completely open. He approaches Miyata like this. If he got rocked earlier with the guard, how can this work? Here it comes. Sendo looks straight at the jab. What will he do? And just like Itagaki said, he moved his head and slipped a jab. No matter how wild he is, Sendo is still a humble student that listens to his second. Because Miyata is too fast to follow visually, Sendo is moving on his wild instincts. Miyata doesn't know which punch Sendo will throw. That's how unreadable he is. Right, left, right. Like absolute bombs, they land on Miyata's guard, causing explosions. Miyata says these punches are motionless. Ippo explains it further. Sendo can punch without taking a fighting fighting pose. The jab and the straight are exactly traveling the same distance and are not telegraphed. You don't see the motion from that stance. Miyata throws another jab, but Sendo slips it easily. And another disgusting right by Sendo. Miyata says these punches are crazy to be this strong when they're so compact. This moron is the same type of boxer like Ippo. As Sendo throws another compact jab, Miyata says that destructive power is gonna cost him. Sendo knew the right was gonna come. He dodges with ease and pulls his left back. He smiles like the devil and says counter punches always fall for these kind of feints. He baited Miyata into throwing a counter, but just think about this. He only threw it because he's so obsessed with them. His own might is trapping him. And Sendo wrecks Miyata's guts with the piercing right hand. Miyata tries to keep Sendo away with jabs, but it doesn't work. He's now accustomed to Miyata's pace and rhythm. Sendo shouts, come on, at Miyata. He wants more smoke. He pushes him into the corner like a pillow and says, say good night. The right hand rains down on Miyata's guard like 1,000 tons of steel. And another one. This time it's the damn smash. Miyata gets his guard up in time. But even through the guard you can see the insane power pushing into him. And it's an explosion that almost rips Miyata's arms off from his torso. And now the finisher. Miyata says the swing is wide. He can counter, but can he? Sendo's eyes say, what you gonna do? Then Miyata realizes there's no opening. He can't punch, not in this situation. Sendo knows it and he looks like a hungry tiger that's about to go for the finishing bite into the neck of its prey. And Sendo rams his right hand into Miyata's skull and executes him in front of his father and the whole gym. Or does he? Sendo hit the corner post and spared Miyata's life. Miyata asks him if that was on purpose. And now Sendo is the one saying it. It's just a spar. There's no need to go that far. 3. Takamura versus Sendo 2. Takamura's getting warmed up by cracking his neck. Sendo is betting on his speed and lightness. He wants to close in within a single shot. Look at his veins, bro. Looks like a whole tree on his shin. And Sendo dashes in with frightening speed. Whoa! What is this? Takamura is already in front of him. He was faster than Sendo? Sendo looks absolutely shocked. And before he can catch Takamura's left, his whole arm is knocked away and almost rips off his body. Sendo says it feels heavy. And before he can catch himself, Takamura is already throwing a right. This feels like an execution. The right enters the atmosphere like a meteor. And it hits Sendo's head clean. He flies back like an empty soda can. Even with those big gloves, this hurts bad. Sendo's coach jumps into the ring and stops the fight. He says, stop being so childish, Takamura. As he says this, Takamura is swinging his arm like a cartoon villain. He says, you're too weak to even count as training. I'm done. Sendo says, I ain't done. But his coach counters, we are done. Sendo's pride is hurt. He wants to show his strength, not only to train, but also because he respects Takamura. Takamura says, oh yeah, that's right. The first time you came to our gym, you ended up flat on your ass just like that. Sendo can't say anything to that, because Takamura is right. Imagine Sendo being speechless. Only Takamura can cause this reaction in him. And then he starts absolutely humiliating Sendo. He says, you're the same. I guess I'm the strongest in the world. My bad, my bad. How evil can a person be? Sendo whispers, that's true. What did you say, little bro? Sendo stands up and shouts, I guess I'm asking a lot of you. This is his way of being polite, because he does this next. He says he wants to pay Takamura back while charging at him. Takamura turns around and gets his guard up. Sendo is already throwing the smash. The smash? I already saw that last time. Eat this, Takamura. Sendo says, I hate to admit it, but the smash leaves me wide open at the end. Ricardo is going to aim for exactly that gap, but Wally taught him what to do at the end of the dodge. And what might that be? Huh? He stopped and he pulls his left hand away. It disappears out of sight. It's the knuckle drop. It's landing. No, Takamura has dodged it. He looks at Sendo's glove like he's seeing in slow motion. Phew, that was a close one. The smash was a decoy. The real aim was the right. But what's this? The right disappears as well. As he rotates his body, it becomes clear what his true goal was. Look at his left hand. It's the smash. It lands clean on Takamura's face and drills its way into his flesh. The right was a feint as well, just like the first smash. He pulled every single punch until the last smash. It's the perfect setup. It's similar to the mechanism of Ippo's anti-Dempsey strategy. But what now? Is the spar over? Far from it. Takamura goes absolutely nuts. He didn't even look this angry against Hawk. He hits Sendo with a right to the face while being held back by the entire gym. Even the guy behind Sendo's flying back from the punch. When Sendo's coach says they're done, Takamura slugs him one too. Sendo sees this and jumps off the other guy's shoulder in order to avenge his coach. He flies through the air and tries to head kick Takamura, but he blocks the kick without any issues. He says, "A kick? You think you'll do better in a street fight? Damn straight, you fucking idiot." This is where Takamura goes wild. He says, "Then you're the actual idiot." And then the brawl starts. Or should I say, a giant dinosaur trampled the whole village without resistance. He whooped 8 people at the same time, and he even has Hoshi in the air like a baby. 2. Ippo versus Mashiba. And the bell rings. Ippo steps in with a force that could move a truck. Mashiba's snake arms try to fend Ippo off, but without success. Ippo's like an oiled up bowling ball. He rolls in without resistance. Mashiba is impressed that Ippo really managed to learn southpaw. Likewise, Ippo gives him credit for his precise flickers. He says they're not random because Mashiba goes for the head. That's why you have to keep your head moving. As he says this, we can see Mashiba's flickers graze Ippo's head like a bullet. And finally, he pushes into Mashiba's chest. Mashiba says southpaw or orthodox, it doesn't matter because Ippo's rushing speed is top tier. But Mashiba pushes him back with no issues. He looks like Piccolo as his arms extend across the ring. He says, "You talked all that shit with only this much to back it up?" Mashiba's coach says Kamogawa made a mistake, because this is what it means to be an active boxer. Bro is actively dissing Ippo's retirement. And now the most dangerous phrase in Hajime no Ippo. Ippo says, "I can't do anything like this, but I can't go back without being helpful." Did you hear that? He wants to be helpful. In Ippo code, this means murder. And then Mashiba says, "F***ing go home." And he swings his right down like a guillotine. Is that the proper way to treat a guest, bro? Ippo flies back 10 feet from that right and is now against the ropes. What will happen now? Dempsey roll? Gazelle punch? No, worse. He says, "Not yet. I still haven't been helpful." No, not these words again. It gets scarier every time. But then Itagaki sees something. As the two rush in, Itagaki interrupts them. "What's this, little bro? You want a 2 versus 1? The randoms say he couldn't keep watching, that's why he stopped it. But Itagaki says, "Your legs, big bro. You forgot to take off your weights, man." And as we hear the weights hit the canvas, Mashiba and his coach look at this unfold with absolute confusion. Now it's some proper Rock Lee action, bro. Next thing you know, Ippo will open the 8 Mara gates. Itagaki says, "Now you can let loose. Let's get it." Ippo dances around with his light body now. He says he's certain that during the fight with Rosario, this precise scenario will unfold. So please pay close attention. Bro, he's not only saying watch me teach you, but also pay attention, because you might not even see me move, son. Ippo is dangerous. He's in his aura arc. Mashiba says, "You think without the weights you're stronger? You think this is a manga? Don't f*** with me." And box! Ippo steps in again with his right leg, this time light as a feather. As Mashiba throws a lightning flicker, Ippo slips to the side while looking straight ahead. He sees every motion clearly. He ducks under the jab and is now approaching the outside of Mashiba's lead leg. We see a flashback where Ippo trained his southpaw stance on some piece of wood, because the best training is simple training. And he's on the outside. This is the exact moment where fighting a southpaw becomes uncomfortable. He's officially on the outside of Mashiba's lead leg now, and Ippo hits his guard with a powerful left hook to the body. As Mashiba answers with the left hook, Ippo is already pulling back and preparing for the next punch. There it is, an overhand left so blurry that you almost can't see it. He's moving on different timing now. And it hits Mashiba's guard like a 1,000-pound axe from the sky. And while Mashiba is still recovering from that punch, Ippo has already circled out and repositioned. Mashiba says, "That combo just now, what the f*** was that?" He can't even believe what he just felt. That's how fast it happened. The whole gym can't believe this. They went from "it's over" to "I thought he was retired." And look at how Ippo is almost crouching like a panther. Ippo says, yeah, that just went almost exactly as I imagined. Man, can you believe this? He's imagining scenarios and executing them. This is a new version of Ippo, I'm telling you. I can move. I can keep going. Ippo moves to his right. Mashiba wants him to make a move. And then Ippo looks for another angle from the left. Mashiba's coach says Ippo didn't have this distance when he was active. Mashiba also remembers him as someone who fought from up close. And there are still some people out there not believing he will return. Every character is commenting on how he developed as a boxer. All this praise would mean nothing if he doesn't come back. Ippo says, I need to be more helpful. Uh-oh, he's about to do something again. And Mashiba confirms what I've just said. Coming into my gym and talking all that shit, you made me think, is he really 100% retired? That's what I'm saying, Mashiba bro. He says Ippo hasn't slacked on his basic training at all. He's training like an active fighter, bro. And he throws a sharp jab that looks like a ball of energy approaching at light speed. Can Ippo even deal with this? And he's already in. He stepped in like a testosterone-fueled gazelle on rollerblades. Look at this menace in his headgear. He looks like a really helpful guy. And his left takes flight. And an uppercut. Another left hook. And a series of disgusting blows. Mashiba's against the ropes as Ippo absolutely rains down bombs on him. This is Mashiba, who's currently fighting for the world title, by the way. And the other one is just a retired chill guy. Mashiba's coach says as Ippo seems to drag his feet at a distance, he just bursts right in. He didn't have this abrupt change in rhythm either when he was active. And because he's on the outside, Mashiba can't attack with his right hand. That way he throws as many lefts as he wants. If he didn't know better, he'd think Ippo was a natural southpaw. Can you imagine how crazy Ippo will be as a switch hitter when he comes back? I'm gonna send that jaw sky high. Mashiba says this as he throws a sharp upper. You made a mistake, huh? And Ippo answers with a left hand from the gutters. It's so far back that it almost touches my keyboard. Mashiba realizes his error and steps back immediately. This would have knocked him out even through the headgear. Bro, look at how scared Mashiba is here. He knows it would have taken his head off clean. Ippo really was aiming for his head with proper power. Mashiba's coach steps in. We need a timeout. He apologizes. It was his mistake. Now he understands that Ippo can pull off a perfect copy of Rosario. Even Mashiba says he has to take him seriously now. From now on, this is the title fight strategy. Just think about this. Ippo is the title fight strategy for Rosario. This dude is building champions left and right, man. And Mashiba takes a wide stance. He looks so cool, bro. Ippo says his body isn't angled but rather squared up. This is what Mashiba prepared for Rosario. You coming or what? But Ippo is pacing back and forth in the distance again. He won't let others dictate his rhythm. Mashiba says, if you're not coming, I'll just come to you. And he throws a slicing left hand. As he throws it, Ippo steps in exactly at the same time. He looks at Mashiba's foot position as an indicator for where to step. Step over and hit him. But something is wrong. He's not even close to hitting him. He's further back than before. And the right is already coming. Ippo sees death approaching. But he can raise his guard in time. And Mashiba launches his right like a cannonball. Will it land on Ippo's guard? No. It pierces his body like a spear. Ippo has only one word in mind for this. How? He says he doesn't understand, but he'll try as many times as it takes. This is Ippo for you. And he ducks the left to step in. He parries and blocks two more lefts, and then again the steel beam of a right to the body. Ippo tries to step in again, and he blocks another one, and another one to the body. He says no matter how many times he steps in, Mashiba's right keeps drilling holes into his body. He says it's like getting hit by an I-beam, but he understands now. By sticking out his front leg, he creates a barrier, so Ippo can't just step over it as easily anymore. And with the squared stance, his right hand is closer to Ippo. When Ippo finishes his analysis, he says amazing to give Mashiba credit. But Mashiba doesn't care one bit. He sparks Ippo mid-praise. Ippo says, I was complimenting you, dog. You really sucker punched me, man? Mashiba responds, we're still sparring, dumbass. And he gives Ippo a blizzard of flicker jabs. Just look at this. Ippo is blocking every single flicker and says his left hand is hard to dodge. The fact that he dodges and blocks is absolutely wild to me. Back then, he and Kimura could do almost nothing against the flicker, and the right is on its way again. Ippo says the right is coming for the body. He already knows. And it slams into his head like a piano. Ippo's face explodes like a grapefruit. He really went up top and forced Ippo to lower his guard for it. Ippo says it's perfect, it could work well even on the world level. And they wrapped up the 3 rounds just as Ippo promised. Ippo says he's glad nobody was injured, but Mashiba says, what the f are you saying? You came all the way out here, let's do some more. Bro is hungry. Ippo says he's retired and gives some other excuses. He doesn't want it to get out of hand basically. Mashiba says, you've still got gas in the tank, you're fine. Ippo says, but... Look at Mashiba's eyes. He's burning from the inside. He has a mission. He says, you think I missed it? That night, the f did you think you were doing in someone else's house? You kidnapped my little sister. You figured if you had a shot, you'd go as far as you could, huh? Bro, Mashiba has got to be the biggest schizo in Hajime no Ippo. He's literally writing a movie script in his head. Unforgivable. I'm not letting this chance to pulverize you go to waste. Ippo just wanted to be helpful, but Mashiba just wants to beat on him. Why would he hate him so much that he wants to hurt him? Ah, that's it. Ippo says we're adults now, bro. It wasn't anything big. It was sweet. But what does he do? What's the move here? And he continues. I'd rather that you not use the situation just to harass me like this. Ippo speaks up now. Another thing he didn't have when he was an active boxer. Mashiba says, those eyes, they f***ing piss me off. I'm gonna f*** you up. And that just now wasn't even a conversation, by the way. Those were their thoughts. They communicated by looking at each other like dogs. Then Mashiba breaks the silence. Well, are we going or not? Ippo clenches his teeth and takes a step. He shouts, let's go! Bro, Ippo wants a brawl himself now. He knows this won't just go away. He has to beat some sense into Mashiba. And they start dancing. A right to the body from Mashiba. Another to the head by Ippo. But Mashiba blocks it. And then Mashiba's foot clashes against Ippo's. This throws Ippo off balance. Ippo shouts at him, you whacked my leg! Mashiba responds, it wasn't on purpose. Can you imagine Mashiba explaining himself like this to Ippo? An uppercut by Ippo. Then Ippo steps forward with his left foot. Mashiba's coach sees this and immediately calls Ippo out for going back to orthodox. This isn't even practice anymore. They're just duking it out, bro. Forget the world title for a second. Mashiba shouts, don't stop us. Ippo apologizes because he got carried away, but he's pissed as well. A left by Mashiba. Doesn't matter. Ippo answers with a crispy overhand left. Mashiba says, die already. And Ippo says, you're very strong. I think Mashiba meant it as a compliment too. And a beautiful exchange as we see only their silhouettes. The brothers-in-law fighting it out. But it isn't over yet. They're having a whole conversation as they're obliterating each other in the center of the ring. Mashiba tells him to leave his sister alone. Ippo asks him, what right do you have to decide that? And then he asks Ippo, how far are you planning to take it? Ippo says, I'm not doing anything. And usually this would be an excuse, but the whole community knows Ippo really isn't doing anything. Mashiba says, you're not even her boyfriend. Ippo responds, because you're always interfering. Just back off for a second and don't open the door, little bro. And as they have their little discussion, Ippo continues to give Mashiba advice. You're wide open. And he hits him to the body. Mashiba says, that was bait, bitch. And he responds with an uppercut that flings Ippo's head back. As they give each other brain damage, Mashiba's coach says, this is incredible. And they spark each other with proper skull-cracking power. Mashiba with an overhand right and Ippo with the left hook. Mashiba is a lightweight, by the way. This means Ippo is going toe-to-toe with someone 2 weight classes above him. And then Ippo throws himself down and says, I'm done. 1. None other than Volg versus Ippo 2, aka I need to be helpful. He wants to pay Volg back from when he helped him with Takamura. This is the biggest premise of this spar. Paying Volg back. Ippo says, don't worry about injuring him. He is stronger than me anyway, so I can go full power. Damn, bro. He's a menace without even trying. Volg says his muscles are popping out. Ippo's body is on world rank mode. Volg needs to be highly cautious. pay him back. And Ippo dashes in like a torpedo. Ippo chases him across the whole ring with lateral movement. He basically cuts the ring in half with his footwork. Volg blocks every single punch. He's a world champ after all. Volg manages to circle out and ends up on the outside of Ippo's lead leg. But it doesn't matter one bit. Ippo sees him and immediately pivots to face him. In the same motion, he hits him with a storm of punches. A left hook slices through the air like a knife. Volg steps out of range just in time. He sees the punches coming, but Ippo's step in gets faster. Volg is a little surprised even, but he answers with a slicing jab. Ippo dodges to the side and manages to get in the pocket. This is where he lives. This is his territory. They go full-blown infight, but Ippo's pressure is bigger. Volg says he misread him entirely. As Volg tries to be as vigilant as possible, Ippo thinks about paying him back like an obsessed pit bull. And all of a sudden, the White Fang enters the ring. Out of nowhere, Volg pulls out his trademark move with full biting force. But Ippo isn't seeing it as the White Fang like we fans are. He sees the single components, the basic punches behind the technique, a left upper and a right hook. And what does he do? He catches it point blank. He saw the punches coming and prepared to hold them in his hands like a baby. He caught the White Fang. Volg says the sensation is like hitting a brick wall. And Ippo just wants to be helpful. If you want to get beaten up by him, let him help you with full power. He chases Volg with his right, but Volg is still able to see the punches coming. He says this is not a touch sparring, it's just a normal spar now. In a flurry of punches, they cut across the ring again. They don't stay put for a second. In terms of relative speed, they're standing still, but for us, they're barely visible. Volg is impressed by the punch output and footwork. He needs to knock Ippo back with a power punch. And he throws a slicing right hand that could give you a new haircut. But Ippo ducks under it and prepares for a left. He pushed in on Volg. He's deep in his range. And he hits him with the most disgusting body shot ever. This could easily injure him. You can see the knuckle in Ippo's glove press into Volg's body. This is the brick fist shape for you. And the perfect answer for a short infighter is the uppercut. It ascends to the heavens like a dragon. Volg throws a jab to uppercut feint, aka the hien. Ippo parries both variations with ease. Can you imagine pre-retirement Ippo doing such fine technical work? No way. Ippo's guard is getting forced higher. He expects Volg to go down low next. And then it hits. A juicy uppercut appears on Ippo's chin like a ghost. And Volg follows up with an overhand right. This is the White Fang. Ippo ate that shit. He starts bleeding from his mouth. Volg keeps moving. He finds another angle and peppers Ippo with his left. Ippo throws punches, but they're 1,000 miles off target. He looks like he's drunk. He says it was going too well. He needs to pay him back. He has more in store. Volg throws a left and then Ippo steps in and blocks Volg's jab with his right. He's basically using Volg's arm as a rail to slide in. He pushes Volg's arm away and replies with a juicy right. It's a beautiful parry counter. This is something he didn't have before either. It lands beautifully and causes an explosion despite the headgear. But Volg is already in motion. Another uppercut that cracks Ippo's head. Ippo looks absolutely cooked. Volg got heated and forgot about Ippo's retirement reason, the brain damage. He says he can't hit him any more than that. And then it begins. Ippo clenches down and goes into a super low stance. Sendo knows what's up. Volg is preparing as well. Ippo is turning up to 200%. He's locked in like never before. It's the gazelle punch. He jumps like the animal of the savannah. This was for establishing distance and knocking him against the corner. What follows next is a sway to the side. No, it can't be. No way. Ippo starts swaying like a pendulum. Everybody knows this motion. You have it in your mind right now. You're probably even whispering its name as I speak. It's the Dempsey roll. Ippo is appearing like a whole army. He swings back and forth like the turbines of a jet engine. Volg says he knows this from before the Sawamura match. Pay him back. I'll win this. But where is he? Ippo disappeared. No, this is the new Dempsey roll. He's coming from below. It's vertical. It's over. Owarida. Sendo stops him with a forearm strike. Ippo is halfway in his pay him back monster state and half aware. Kamogawa, what the hell are you cooking up, man?